Okay, so I want to do a quick stream to show a new guitar that I got, a new bass guitar that I got. So this is it. It's a Höfner. I don't know if that's gonna show the right way around. Ignition TBK SE apparently. Probably seeing a lot of my screen reflection there. This is it's like the guitar that Paul McCartney uses from the Beatles. Yeah, and it's a bass guitar, not a violin or something like that. Although it does look pretty weird. And I wanted to just make some comments about it, and then I also have some strings here, some flat wound strings that I want to put on it. So little bit of a review and then a little bit of a string change and setup. So I can flick to this camera and show you some stuff. So this is a guitar. I'm gonna put that aside for a second. This is what it came with. So you've got the certificate of authenticity here, which I can show you. Yeah, so it has the stamp and stuff. And this is a little bit interesting, and I'll get into this more, but this particular model is made in China. Höfner is a German brand, and they were generally always made in Germany, but this is a much cheaper model. And I can show you actually on Thomann. This is the actual guitar on Thomann, and yeah, you can see the price tag isn't as huge as the made in Germany ones. Pretty reasonable at $379, though it's a little bit more expensive than say the Harley Benton clone, I guess you would call it. So let's go back to here. So yeah, you've got the certificate, you got a bassman sticker, which I think is a reference to Paul McCartney. I think he had a sticker like this on his guitar. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm just guessing. Then you have like a little quick start guide, which has the history and just some diagrams and some instructions about care and maintenance. Then you have some tools. So just 2 Allen keys for adjusting different things, and I'm going to use those, so I'm going to keep them here. Now I'm going to plug this in. Hopefully this doesn't sound horrible. So plugging it in. Okay, you should be able to hear it. So yeah, I'm playing it. I'll get this a little bit out of the way. I probably could have adjusted the camera. Actually, I want the mic to hear this. This is awkward. So, one major problem that I've got with this is that it's okay sounding until you get to the first fret. Basically, from the factory, it's got an unreasonable amount of fret buzz. I'll just turn the signal off so you can just hear the mic. And that's on every string as well. Maybe not quite as much on the bottom E. That's barely audible. Second fret's not as bad, but if you're finger picking, it's way too much. So hopefully you could hear that. So let me just unplug this. So basically I want to fix that, but I want to change the strings as well, so I figured I might as well change the strings and then I'll fix it, because different strings will put a different amount of tension on the neck, so adjusting the truss rod and stuff doesn't make sense to do on this set of strings if I'm going to change it afterwards. And yeah, so I'm going to start doing that, and then I think I'll give some commentary about my thoughts on this. One other thing I just want to show quickly is, and hopefully you can hear it in the microphone, but not sure if you could hear that, but there is a significant amount of something inside this. And like I said, I bought this guitar brand new. It doesn't have any access holes in it. Like there's no F holes up here or something where something can get in there. It's just from manufacturing. There is just a bunch of stuff floating around in there, which is not that great. I guess if I take the pickups off, or this pick guard or something, that might make it possible to get that stuff out. Now I have one more thing I can do here. I have a little fancy trick. Let's see if this works. Yeah, here we go. So I'm actually using my phone here, so I can get a bit of close up on some details of the guitar. So I just wanted to point out some things like, you know, poorly cut plastic there. I've peeled all the peels off these two, so it's not peels. And then this bit in the corner of the pick guard here is a bit rough, I would say. Not sure if you can see that. Doesn't want to focus. And then over here, same story with the plastic. It's just like, let's see if I can focus this. Maybe you can, hopefully you can still hear me. Bring the mic a bit closer. Yeah, so this was just really poorly cut, and also, I don't know if you can tell, there's stuff peeling up there, and that's not the plastic peel that you are supposed to remove. That's actually, you can see this has like a pearlescent kind of finish, and that's a layer on top of this plastic which is pearlescent, and that layer is peeling off, and I didn't do this. This is like this from the factory. So I would say lots of quality issues, and I know this isn't a made in Germany guitar. This is a cheaper made in China version, but still, I mean, if you're going to put your brand stamp on it and you're going to send a certificate of authenticity, you would expect a little bit more quality control, I would say. Especially since you can buy cheaper versions of this from Harley Benton. And in my experience, Harley Benton, the quality has been much better. Like, I haven't played their version of this, but my friend has a much cheaper Harley Benton precision bass, and much better quality. Like, there's definitely no fret buzz, and it's well set up, and no issues with things rattling around and plastic poorly cut and stuff. Just wanted to point that out. They also don't make a black version like this, so that's why I bought this, because I like the black one, and because, you know, I thought getting the authentic brand would be nice, even if it is made in China. So I'm just going to start removing the strings. So I'm not really a bass player, I would say. I grew up playing guitar, and I started playing bass just for fun. I had a friend's bass that I was borrowing for a while, and then I joined a friend's band as a bass player and got more used to playing bass. But most of the time, I mean, a friend's band. I joined a band called the Tropicals. We released an album. I've used some of their music on my YouTube channel before. The album's called Temperate Climax. Check it out if you're interested. It's like a surf rock album. But yeah, so that's what got me into playing bass, and I quite enjoy it. For the sake of like purely focusing on melodies and stuff. But I just had a P bass, and because I came from playing guitar, I would generally play it with a pick, which I know a lot of bass guitarists think is sacrilegious, but that's what I was used to. And coincidentally, Paul McCartney used to play like that as well. Paul McCartney from the Beatles would play this style of bass and would play with a pick. And actually, I think this bass is more suited to using a pick, because how am I going to show this? Because when you hold it, when you're finger picking, you generally like rest your arm on top of the bass and pick like this, but it's much lower, so you have to bend your wrist a lot more. So it actually feels a lot better picking. Yeah, let me flick back to this. And yeah, so I actually wanted to try to get more practice finger picking while I have this, but I realized after I got it that it's actually a lot harder to finger pick because you don't have anywhere to rest your arm. So wow. Okay, this is where my my inexperience might have just undone me, because I didn't realize that this isn't mounted. So all the people here who have one of these basses or have used one before are now like, oh my god, what an idiot, what is this guy doing? This is just floating, and I had no idea, so that is going to be hard to get into the right location. I've definitely created a much bigger issue for myself. I think the smart thing to do would have been to take one string off at a time. But sometimes you gotta learn things the hard way. Okay. These are the round wound strings that came with the guitar. Let me see if I can get that to focus so you can see it. Maybe. No. Let me just move my face up here. No. Not gonna happen. You see it? Okay, this is a round one string, the strings that came with the guitar, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but it has ridges on it, if you didn't know this already. This is like a normal acoustic guitar string or something. The strings that I bought to replace them with are flat wound strings. This is back to front, isn't it? There we go. Probably should have flipped that in the beginning. These are flat wound strings. So the point of these is that they, well, I don't know, let's not say the point. The main characteristic of these strings is they don't have those ridges. They, well, let me just show you what we have. So the gauges are 0.095, 0.075, 0.060 and 0.04. So yeah, these strings do not have the ridges, or at least the ridges are much less pronounced. So if I can do this again. They're much smoother. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah. So much easier to slide your hands along the strings without making any noise. And they have a different sound, obviously. They're a bit more dull, I guess. They're more commonly used in jazz. And what was I going to say? I can't remember. But the big thing on this guitar is that they're less noisy. Like when you slide your hand along it, it doesn't make as much noise when your finger's moving along it. And that's important because it's a kind of hollow body, I guess. So when you slide your finger along it, it makes a lot of noise. Yeah, this is going to be an absolute nightmare to get the intonation right again after this epic fail, not realizing that the bridge is floating. So I'm also going to I'm going to adjust the truss rod, and I'm betting that there's probably a bunch of people who are like, this guy managed to just completely ruin the intonation by moving the position of the bridge. He should not be trusted with truss rod adjustment. Maybe that's true. But what I'll say is that I've adjusted truss rods on all of my guitars before, and I've never had any problems. I know that a lot of people like to warn against ever touching the truss rod, which is valid. But I'll also say you don't have to go to university to figure out how to adjust a truss rod. It's not rocket science. It's a screw, basically. You turn it one way, it tightens. You turn it the other way, it loosens. And yes, you can damage the neck of your guitar if you go too crazy with it. But as long as you can figure out which direction is flexing it in which way, it's manageable. Watch some YouTube videos, not this one, and you'll be able to learn how to do it. And I'll just say I'm not worried about destroying my truss rod, destroying the neck. I am worried about the position of this bridge. if I had something to rest this on, but I don't. I just realized this still has a peel on it. I might actually take that off, because I need to take it off to get to the truss rod anyway. And maybe I can show for anybody who's watching this and wondering what the hell a truss rod is. It's hidden under here. So the truss rod is basically when they build a guitar, depending which kind of truss rod you use, you can have like a dual action truss rod, or you can have a single action truss rod. But what they generally do before they attach the fretboard is they cut a slot all the way down the middle that's about, I don't know, 10 millimeters or 8 millimeters wide, or probably more likely some random imperial unit, some fraction of an inch. And the reason why they do that is they put this rod in there, the truss rod, and it's essentially like a threaded rod. And if it's a single action truss rod, it's a threaded rod that goes like along the middle. It sort of curves along the neck. So when you tighten it, it wants to straighten out. So when the strings are going to bend the neck like this, you tighten the truss rod and it will bend it back the other direction so you can get it straight. Same thing for a dual action truss rod, but it has like two sort of threaded rods like this, or like a threaded rod and a metal rod underneath it. So they like are attached on the end. So if you tighten it, it bends one way. If you loosen it, it bends the other way. Just allows you to compensate for the bend that the strings put on the neck. Just peeling off the peel there. So I'm going to leave that off for now, because there is a little, let me just show it on here. There's a little screw in there that can be tightened or loosened, and that adjusts the truss rod. I'm thinking a lot about how much I regret taking all the strings off at once. Okay. When I put my strings on, I mean, I haven't done this that many times on a bass. Done it a lot more times on a guitar. Usually what I would do is like, I would have it so I can fit my fist under the middle of the string, and that I think is enough tension. It's enough slack, sorry, so that when you start winding this, there's enough room there for it to coil up and get some grip, I guess. I might do the same thing and we'll see how it goes. So if I put my fist under there, Just it looks like this might even go too far on the string, I'm not sure. Let's see. And I usually do one loop over the top. And the rest underneath. Yeah, I hope these strings are a good length. Okay. I don't want to make this too tight because I'm going to have to probably move the bridge. Oh, what a nightmare. This bridge situation. I might be making this up, but I'm pretty sure most round wound strings have the red wrapping at the end of the string, and most flat wound strings have the green wrapping. That's why these ones are green. So if you see somebody playing a bass and you can see the color of the wrapping, you can pretty much tell what kind of strings they're playing. But I mean, that's not always true. Some strings just have like black wrapping at the end, so you can't always tell. Okay. So I've got a fist spacing in there. Start tightening it. Just put some more cloth under the back so that the body is not scratching on the table. Okay, so one over the top. And then underneath. I will say too, the made in Germany Höfners, they generally come with flat wound strings as well. I think it's just the China made ones that have the round wound strings, because round wound strings are a lot cheaper and it just makes it more affordable guitar. But I think generally people play these with flat wound strings, and that's what Paul McCartney did as well. And actually he used a very similar string gauge as what I'm putting on here, which is, well, the gauges which I read out before, but I think his lower E string had a 0.045 gauge instead of 0.04. I know this part is kind of tedious and boring, but you know, this is how it is. So I'm pushing the string down to get underneath the part where it initially came through. Okay. So last one, and then we can have a look at this bridge situation. I'm probably doing a really bad job of engaging with viewers, because generally I'm anticipating that nobody is watching and that the uploaded video afterwards might get some views, because yeah, generally nobody's watching at the time, but occasionally I can see, and I'm using Restream here, so I'm not directly looking at Twitch or anything, but I can see like a 1 next to Twitch, so I'm assuming there's one person watching, or otherwise there's something going wrong with this plugin. But if you are watching, hi. Feel free to write whatever you want. If you think that I'm stupid, you can say I'm stupid. If you want me to do something else, you can say that. If you want to tell me how to do this better because I'm doing it really poorly, let me know. Or if you just want to say anything random, you can do that too. Or you can just watch me make a fool of myself, and that's fine too. And I also hope that if somebody has written something on Twitch, that it comes through on Restream and I'll see it. Alright. So now I've got all these dangly bits here, and I don't want to cut them completely off, because there's a chance that you know, you might need to adjust it and add more onto the coil or something. So I'm gonna cut them down, but like with a lot of space left, like I don't know, 10 centimeters or something, a few inches for the Americans. And the Americans only. On the Burmese. Whoever else it is that still uses inches. I think it's like 3 countries. Okay. There. All right. So the strings are on. Now, how badly have I messed up here? Okay, it seems like I can kind of locate the bridge a little bit so that it ends up being straight. I might have to just loosen the strings a bit. to gauge how straight it is. What would have been smart is to at least check before, take a picture or something. I think what I'll have to do let's have a look at the web page. Because I think I'm gonna have to definitely come back and readjust it after I've tuned it, which will mean a lot of tuning and then detuning. So let's do a rough placement somewhere in the middle, closer to the bridge, which is about where I've got it, I think. Let's eyeball it. I guess I can try to align the strings over the pickup magnets. Alright, gonna try that. Gonna tune it and we'll see what happens. So let's go. Let's go to Ableton and have my tuner utility there. And I'll start tuning and hope that it doesn't, nothing breaks. Is that the right E or is that an octave below? I have no idea. Yeah, if you're a guitar player, you probably have some stupid riddle in your head of how to remember the letters, even if you don't need the riddle anymore. Mine is every arsehole digs guitar. At some point, somebody will teach you one of these silly things, and it'll stick in your head forever. I'm making this face because I'm like, I don't want anything to explode. Creaking. It's just okay. Well, it didn't explode. Strings are on. The intonation is going to be the thing. So, how am I going to show this? I need a wider camera angle. Right, let's put it back here. So the way you check this is by hitting a note here and tuning it to that, and then hitting the same note at the 12th fret, because this is the octave, and you can check how in tune this note is. I mean, you can do it with any note. You basically want to check, like, okay, if the open string is in tune, then like you want this to be in tune, this to be in tune, this to be in tune. And if you're finding that like down here it's really in tune, but up here it's really out of tune, that's telling you that the bridge needs to move. Generally, bridges themselves don't actually move. It's like the contact point that the string sits on will move within the bridge. Yeah, I totally messed up and realized after I took the strings off that the entire bridge moves. So yeah, let's go back to Ableton. So I'm checking E here, so that's pretty well in tune. And then when I check it, the octave, it's flat. So now I have to remember which way the bridge should move. I think I'm gonna have to look it up. I mean, I could just trial and error it, but let me just quickly look it up. I can share this. Well, I don't have to hide this. If the 12th fret is flat, it would mean that the saddle on the string needs to be moved toward the headstock. Okay. So, translation. Because the 12th fret was flat, this needs to move this direction. This bridge needs to move this way. So usually you would loosen the strings. I'm wondering if I can like just move it, or if that's like a really bad idea. Maybe it doesn't work with round one strings, but could work with flat round. Yeah, that moved a little bit. Could work with flat wound strings because it's less friction, you know. Let's try this again. So I need to tune it up again. Okay, so before it was about minus 20 cents to flat. Now it's minus 15 to flat, so that worked. Let's check the G string. Everybody likes checking the G string. And that needs to go in the opposite direction. What about D? Hopefully this tuner isn't too small. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, D is in a pretty good spot, which makes things a little bit tricky. If A is good too, then maybe just a little twist of the bridge would be good. Yeah, A is pretty close. A needs to go forward as well. So what that's telling me, let me go back here. So E was flat, so it needs to go this way. A was a little bit flat, so it also needs to go this way, but a little bit less. D was like almost perfect, and bottom E, or top E, however you want to say it, needs to go this way. So what that's telling me is that I need to rotate it like this. So this side needs to come forward, this side needs to come a little bit back, and the center of the rotation should be here, because this one's good. The only problem here is that I can't change the position of these in relation to each other. So I have to assume that they did the right thing from the beginning and they're in a good position. And I just need to try to twist this a bit. This really... Oh. Didn't feel safe in the beginning, but then it moved. So... let me try that out. Okay. It's weird because it moved a lot and didn't seem to help. This is the other problem, is like you have to be very consistent with how hard you press the string in, because I can press it down harder and actually get it in tune. So I need to do just the lightest press that actually gets that note to ring. Okay, so now this one's too far forward. Which is a bad sign. It's telling me that like I'm not going to be able to get it right on all of the strings. D is pretty good though. G needs to go the other way. Okay. This is kind of just leading me to think that this is a bad bridge design. I mean, I understand it's a hollow body, so it probably means you can't just like put screws through the body here and mount the bridge. But I mean, you could at least have something like double-sided taped on here, glued on, and something with some actual individual adjustment for the position of each of these. Yeah, in theory, like, this could come forward. So maybe I can actually pull that out of the slot. I don't know. I don't know if that's intended to be possible. This just looks like a bit of fret wire that's kind of stuck in there. I'm gonna have one more shot of moving it and see if it helps. Let's put this here. My cable's getting all tangled. All right, let's try that. Okay, that got closer. That got further. That could actually go back a lot. Okay, so E needs to go towards the neck. A needs to go towards the bridge. D can stay put. G needs to go towards the bridge. Alright, so here is my thesis. This needs to go back this way. This needs to go back this way. This needs to go this way. This needs to stay still. So I think I'm probably not going to bother with it now because it's like it's playable close. I mean, there's different types of intonation you can do, right? Like, you can intonate for different positions on the neck. So sometimes if you get it perfect, like at the 12th fret, it might not be perfect at the 5th fret. So let's say like the D, for example, which it's pretty close at the 12th fret, and I'm playing the D string still, but I'm just hitting the 5th fret, and you can see that's going in the opposite direction. So you can't intonate for every possible place. So if I do the E string at the 12th fret, it's quite flat, and the 5th fret is more flat. I don't know. I think I'm gonna, oh Jesus, just dropped it on the table. I think I'm gonna leave that for now. As I said, it's close enough, but probably I'll investigate like if I can actually change the slot that these things are in, because yeah, I think I said I would move this one this way, move this one that way, move that one that way, and yeah, then I can adjust it again. But for now, that'll do. I also might even look into if I can get a replacement for this bridge that has a bit more fine-tune adjusting, because yeah, this, I'm not sold on this, and maybe this becomes a project that I will design a new one of these, because this is very simple. Like, it's a very simple wooden construction. I could make something out of plastic and CNC mill it or something, and actually have some threaded adjustment movement. But that's for another time. Now I want to check if the fret buzz is still a problem. So it definitely is. So there's two things you can do in this case. Unplug this. Oops. So one thing is the bridge height. So this is the bridge, and if I can get this to focus at this level, maybe I can't. Let's just do overhead. The height is adjustable using this little thumb screw, but the strings need to be loose to lift it up. So that raises the overall height of the strings. But then, let me just put this over here. Then the bow of the neck is the other thing that can affect the buzz. So if I press a fret here and press the first fret, then I can feel in the middle how much space it has to move. So the string is acting like a straight line. Like once I'm holding it at this fret and I'm holding it at this fret, the string is under tension, so it acts like a ruler, if you know what I mean. So the ruler is dead straight, and then we can compare the neck to that. So by pressing this in and seeing how far it has to move, we can tell how much space is there. And I can tell that there's very little space. Like here, I'm not hearing the string move at all. So it's already touching these strings. So that tells me that the string needs to, the neck, sorry, needs to bend this way. And to do that, I need to loosen the truss rod, because that allows the strings to pull the neck in this direction against the truss rod. So you loosen the truss rod and it allows the strings to pull more. So I'm going to do the thing that everybody tells you not to do, and I'm going to loosen the truss rod. I guess loosening it is safer than tightening it. Question is, which way do you turn it to loosen it? I'm just going to drink some water quickly. Okay. So this goes in here. Oh, let me change the camera. This tool, it's the larger Allen key that came with the guitar. It goes in here. If I can find the screw. And I would say that turning it this way would be loosening it. So let's see what happens. So I just did a short turn there. You obviously can't move the Allen key very far. So I'm going to do 2 turns there. And then I can check this again. So I'm just checking if there's a bit more space under the string now, and there isn't. Once there is enough space under the string, that'll just mean that I've got like a little bit of a curve, which you don't want the neck to be dead straight, like a little bit of curve. Tiny bit of curve in this direction is good. And then if it's still buzzing, then I can raise the neck a bit. The bridge, sorry, I can raise the bridge a bit. Actually feels like it's taken the tension off the neck entirely. So I just moved it back a little bit so there was some tension. But what I probably should do is tune the strings again, because yeah, loosening the neck in this direction is loosening the strings as well. So you need to tighten the strings to compensate until it gets back to equilibrium. So let's tune again. Everybody's favorite song. All right. Now, you can check this again. So now I can feel there's a little bit more of a gap there, especially at this end where I couldn't feel it before. There's a little bit of distance before the string hits the fret, and a little bit more distance up here, which is good. Not a huge amount. I mean, we're talking like maybe not even 1/2 millimeter, and at this end it's like maybe 1/4 millimeter, but it's just enough that it's not touching. And that already has gotten rid of some of the fret buzz. Um, now I don't know how much more of the truss rod tension I can take out, because it feels like when I'm at here, it's just loose. Like there's no tension on it anymore, which is weird because you would think there would have to be tension, unless the wood is naturally like bent in the opposite direction. See, now it's actually putting tension going in the opposite direction. And what that says to me is that it's possible this is a dual action truss rod. And now I'm actually forcing it in the other direction. So it's actually aiding the strings. Let's tune it again and see. Problems in the jack too. It's not great. Get tuned up again. Okay. So now we're tuned, we're in equilibrium. We can, oh, sorry, I didn't show the tuner then. Okay. Bit more of a gap now. Just a tiny bit more. Just enough that you can see the string moving. Get this mic out of the way. Still a bit of buzz if I play it hard. If I play it soft, there's no buzz. So I'd say that's a pretty big success. A string's got barely any buzz. Barely any on the high E as well. Why am I saying high E? It's G. It's not a guitar. So yeah. So because there's still a little bit on the like I'm satisfied with the bend in the neck now. Let me switch this back to here. I'm satisfied with the amount of bend in the neck, that I've got a little bit of play there. enough that like it hasn't messed with the action up here, or in the middle, like it's not, the action's not too high. I mean, there's a bit of action obviously, but that's pretty normal for a bass, especially because these strings move around a lot. So what I'm thinking now is, because the E string is still buzzing just a little bit when I play really hard on the first fret, that I might raise this a little bit, and the G was buzzing a little bit, so I'll raise that too, but not as much as this side. I'll raise this side much more. Well, not much more, but a bit more. And to do that, I'm gonna have to detune the strings. So I have to pray that this stays where I've put it. So okay, once you're at this point where all the strings are just flopping around, that's pretty much good. Now I'm gonna try and see if I can raise this. Okay, so this is where the other tool is for. I thought it was just thumb screws, but you can actually put the other tool in. I have to try to work out which way does what. Okay, the thumb screw does move too, independently from screwing the top. I need to remember this position where I put the Allen key in, so I can bring it back to here, and I got to figure out which way is going up and which way is going down. Oh. I just moved the bridge a lot. That's okay. Alright. So I moved that up. I did one full rotation. Maybe I'll do one more. I'll do one more half. Okay. This side might be okay. Just moved the bridge again. See, this is on a lot of an angle now, which is not how this guitar is supposed to look, but it's the way that the intonation actually tends to work. So until I change this, I'm just going to leave it like that because it probably actually helps. Then I'm going to tune it up again. I might just do this in my lap, it'll be easier. How did I just start recording? Not tuning each string all the way up on its own. Try to bring them all up together so that you're not creating huge tension changes from one string to the next. Alright, so let's double check the string gap again. Just to make sure it doesn't change, like the bridge height doesn't affect this. Just want to check that it's still okay. And then still a bit of buzz there. So I think I want to lift it up a bit more. Can I do it while it's tuned? Let's see. Just don't want to break anything. Feels like I can. I mean, this screw must just be threading into the wood. Like, how is this like putting enough force on it that I don't know. I've never been afraid of breaking a guitar while setting it up until now. Just gonna loosen the E a bit. Try to lift this up a bit more. check this again. Oh, that's much better. Get this out of the way again. Connection problems. Maybe it's the cable. Still a little bit of buzz there, but it's a lot better. How far do I want to go with this? Something rattling. Maybe it's one of these little... I think there's something rattling inside the guitar. Anyway. Sounds okay. I think I'm happy with it for now. It seems redeemable of a guitar. Though not perfect. So yeah, that's it. If I can summarize, it's a cool looking guitar. I like the style. You can tell that it's the made in China version. It feels cheap, to be honest. I mean, these guitars are supposed to be light, but this feels particularly cheap just because of the things that I pointed out in the beginning, like weird issues with the plastic not being cut well and parts of it peeling up and stuff. Things rattling around inside it that are not accessible. Poorly set up. There was a lot of fret buzz. Yeah, the neck was too arched in the opposite direction, so the truss rod was too tight. Didn't come with flat wound strings, which, you know, it's a bit lame. Like, I think most people want flat wound strings on these. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I think it should come with flat wounds. Other than that, yeah, still think it looks cool. I think it's redeemable now. This bridge, I wasn't expecting it. Looking at this now, like these kind of little frets that are on there almost look like they're in a straight line, so I think that the factory position for those is a bit weird, but maybe they were just trying to do intonation for a different area on the neck. I'm going to investigate if I can change the position of those things, the little frets, If I can't, then I will investigate if I can put a different bridge on there, because super easy considering it's not even screwed on. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's like semi-playable now, so I'm gonna test it out for a few weeks and see how I feel about it. I'm not gonna return it. But yeah, I'm just gonna see how I feel about it. If you have any questions about anything I did, or if you want to tell me how stupid I was for taking all of the strings off at once, or for touching the truss rod, because that's sacred and you're not allowed to touch the truss rod, by all means let me know. And yeah, I'm gonna go eat some food. We'll see you later.